Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tracking a cascade of crises, a chain reaction, really. It's a domino effect that kicks off in the natural world, but it ends with a direct hit to our own well-being. And what we're about to lay out, well, it's not some problem for the future. This is our planet's final warning, happening right now.
All right, let's just dive right in. The very first piece of this puzzle, the first domino to get knocked over, is life itself. And it's happening on a scale that is, honestly, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Just look at this number, 1 million. According to the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity, that's IPBS for short, that is how many animal and plant species are now threatened with extinction. And we're not talking about some distant future. We're talking about many of them disappearing within our own lifetimes. To put that into perspective, just try to imagine the slow, natural pulse of the planet ticking along for millions of years. Now imagine that pulse being slammed into hyperdrive, just violently accelerated. That's where we are. The natural world is literally vanishing at a speed we have never seen in all of human history. So when that first domino falls, it triggers a chain reaction that slams right into the planet's most critical life support system, our oceans. And look, this isn't just about losing some beautiful fish. This is about losing the very engine of our own survival. Go on, take a breath. Now, take another one. One of those breaths you just took came from the ocean. Scientists over at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution confirmed it. These tiny little organisms produce about half of the oxygen on Earth. We are hardwired to the sea with every single breath. Now, what's really fascinating here is just how much we depend on it. You know, we rightly talk a lot about protecting rainforests, but this chart shows you, plain and simple, that the ocean is doing just as much of the heavy lifting. It's just as crucial as every single forest and plant on land for the air that's keeping us all alive. And get this, that same ocean that's giving us half of our oxygen, it's also home to 80% of all life on Earth. Think about that. It is the single largest cradle of biodiversity on the entire planet. This is the question, isn't it? This is what we have to face. When the very foundation of that massive ecosystem starts to crumble, it's not some abstract problem for our grandkids. It is a direct, immediate threat to our most basic, most fundamental survival mechanism. Okay, so if the threat of, not being able to breathe isn't quite hitting home, let's try translating this crisis into a language absolutely everyone understands. Money. Because nature's sending us a bill for all this destruction, and it is astronomical. $33 trillion. Yeah, you heard that right. According to a 2017 study, that is the estimated value of the services that nature provides us every single year, for free. We're talking about things like clean water, bees pollinating our crops, and yeah, that air we were just talking about. And here's the kicker. The value nature provides us for free every year is greater than the entire economic output of the world's two biggest superpowers, the United States and China combined. So let that sink in. We are actively destroying an asset that is more valuable than our two largest economies. But this massive global crisis, it's not just happening out there. The final domino in this whole mess lands right in our own lives. It's affecting our communities and our own minds in ways we are only just now starting to figure out. Just take a look at these two pictures. On the left, you see a place that feels valued, right? It's cared for, it makes you want to be there. On the right, you see a place that feels forgotten, maybe even unsafe. This contrast perfectly illustrates how our investment in nature is a mirror for how we value our communities and our own mental health. Now, this is absolutely critical. Research shows that 75% of all mental health disorders first show up before the age of 25. This is such a pivotal, vulnerable time in a person's life, where the world around them can either build them up or break them. So at the exact moment when young people need nature the most for their own resilience and mental health, what do? We manage our public green spaces in ways that literally make them feel invisible. This sign says it all. We are telling an entire generation, sorry, this space isn't for you anymore. And this quote from a young Londoner in a UCL study just captures that feeling of displacement perfectly. It's not about disliking kids, it's about that feeling of not belonging anywhere, that feeling that just deepens the disconnect from the natural world right when they need that connection the most. So that brings us here, to our final question. All of these dominoes, the extinctions, the health of our oceans, the economic cost, our own well-being. These are not falling in isolation. They are all falling together, as one. From a million species at risk, to the very oxygen we breathe, to the trillion-dollar value of our natural world, and to the mental health of our kids. I mean, the message could not possibly be clear. The planet is sending us signal after signal. The dominoes are falling. The only real question left is whether we're going to listen and act before the very last one hits the ground.